It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update, as Matt Hardy has trolled fans with a Jeff Hardy debut, the main event of Impact Bound for Glory has been confirmed, and Tommy Dreamer has issued a statement following the Dark Side of the Ring controversy. All that and more coming up in today's video, but first... This Wednesday, AEW will host the Grand Slam edition of Dynamite, and it has been confirmed that a former associate of the Bullet Club is set to make their AEW debut. Heels and Arrow actor Stephen Amell, who was previously a part-time member of the group, has confirmed on Instagram that he is going to be at the show, and he said, "You're going to be seeing me in some capacity on your television, I believe, on Wednesday the 22nd. I'm going to be at the AEW show at Arthur Ashe Stadium." Stephen Amell is the real-life friend of Cody Rhodes, and the two worked a match together in WWE with Cody teaming with King Barrett in a losing effort against Amell and Neville, who we now know as Pac. Once Cody left WWE, the two men linked up once again in the TV series Arrow. Amell has wrestled 2 matches since, first as part of the Bullet Club in Ring of Honor, before working a match with Christopher Daniels at All In, the predecessor to All Elite Wrestling. It's currently unknown if he will get physical on the show, although it's likely that he'll get involved in the Cody Rhodes Malachi Black bout. Amell has recently expressed an interest in getting back in wrestling as a heel, and with Cody's recent hints at a heel turn, perhaps we could see a double turn at AEW Grand Slam. On a recent episode of the AEW Unrestricted podcast, Tony Schiavone discussed his on-screen encounter with Adam Cole, the boyfriend of Britt Baker. Over the past several months, Schiavone has acted as a mentor on and off-screen for the AEW Women's World Champion, something that was addressed by her real-life partner. The two would meet in the ring during Cole's first promo on AEW Dynamite, and would tell Tony that if he even looks at Britt the wrong way, he'll whoop his ass. Tony revealed how the segment was put together and said, "We've had this on-screen relationship that is genuine because I really have a lot of time for Britt, like I have a lot of time for a lot of people. Adam gets with me and he says, well, we need to address this on camera, and I said, yeah, we do. We talk through what we're gonna say, and he said, I'm gonna call you a nerd. Fans are gonna pop because they know I'm really a nerd, so I will call you a nerd." So he went out and he told me to get out, but he didn't say nerd. So I'm standing there and he goes, "Get out." And I look at him and I whisper, "Nerd." And he goes, "Get out, nerd." I remind him to say nerd. When Schiavone got to the back, he received some feedback from AEW President Tony Khan, who felt that he didn't leave the ring fast enough when he was threatened. Schiavone would explain himself and he said, "We go in the back and Tony says, you didn't get out quick enough. If he's threatening you, you need to get out quicker." I said, there was a line that he was not hitting. I was waiting for him to hit that line and I had to tell him that. I don't know if it came across for me saying nerd first to him, but that's how it all went. And listen, in reality, Adam is one of the nicest young men that I have met. Schiavone had a lot of praise for Cole, saying that he knows he can really work and can give AEW some great matches. Adam Cole will next be in action this Friday at AEW Rampage Grand Slam, where he reunites with the Young Bucks to battle Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express. On the recent debut episode of the Throwing Down podcast, hosted by former WWE announcer Renee Paquette and UFC fighter Miesha Tate, saw Ricky Starks joining them as a guest. Starks is currently a member of Team Taz, a group that is feuding with the recently returned CM Punk. Starks would speak of Punk's upcoming match with fellow Team Taz member Powerhouse Hobbs, and whether he and Punk will eventually have a match, and he said, "I really have no clue what's going on with Punk. I know that Hobbs is going to handle some stuff for me in terms of Punk, but the guy, he called me out. I appreciate the spotlight there, but I'm kind of tied up with Brian Cage first. I have to get through that obstacle before I move on to Punk and see what he's about. But hey, if it keeps drawing me attention, I say, Punk, keep my name in your mouth. Keep it going, I welcome it. It's been great. I know that he's a very hard worker, obviously." Starks would go on to praise the Second City Saint and would talk of his influence backstage, which has led to a big morale boost for the locker room, and Starks revealed, backstage he's very mindful of everyone and their matches, and making sure that he talks to them and critiques them afterwards, and he's very approachable too. So I think having Punk back there is a big morale boost. Punk is set to take on Hobbs this Wednesday, with the match airing on Friday on AEW Rampage Grand Slam. If Punk can overcome the Powerhouse, it's likely he'll move on to a match with another member of Team Taz, with either Hook or Ricky Starks next in line. This weekend, AEW star Matt Hardy appeared on an independent show at the ECW Arena for Battleground Championship Wrestling. Hardy was scheduled for a tag match with a mystery partner to take on ECW legends Sabu and Rob Van Dam. Before the show, Hardy teased that he will be joined by family, with many assuming this would lead to the unlikely appearance of his brother Jeff Hardy, who is currently signed to WWE. Before the match, Hardy introduced his family member as Jeff Hardy's music played. Instead of Jeff, Mark Quinn showed up as the cheers quickly turned to boos. Mark Quinn is of course a member of the Hardy family office stable in AEW and showed up mimicking the mannerisms of Jeff. This trolling follows a recent interview with Matt, who expressed a hope that he will eventually reunite with his brother in All Elite Wrestling. And let's move on to Impact Wrestling, as the main event for the upcoming Bound for Glory pay-per-view has been made official at this past weekend's Victory Road. In the main event of the show, Impact World Champion Christian Cage retained his title against Ace Austin before being confronted by X Division champion Josh Alexander. Josh decided to cash in his Option C clause, which means he will relinquish his title in order to earn a shot for the World Championship, ending his 144-day reign as X Division champ. Option C was first introduced in 2012 when then X Division champion Austin Aries was offered a shot at the TNA World Champion Bobby Roode, but only if he gave up his championship. He would go on to win the title. This is the first time the clause has been used since 2018, where Brian Cage unsuccessfully challenged Impact champion Johnny Impact at the 2018 Homecoming event. The match between Christian Cage and Josh Alexander will take place on October 23rd at Impact Bound for Glory, and it will be Cage's second defense of his title after winning it at the premiere episode of AEW Rampage, where he defeated Kenny Omega. And quickly, just before we continue, make sure you drop a like on the video as it helps me out a lot, and make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming wrestling content as we head, hopefully, towards 100,000 subscribers. But now, let's press play on the video. Next up, we have a report from Fightful, which has revealed the name of an AEW star who was spotted at the recent tapings for Impact Wrestling in Nashville. Christopher Daniels, who is no stranger to Impact, is said to have been in attendance for the show, with speculation that he was there to wrestle, although this hasn't been confirmed. Daniels hasn't wrestled since May, where he took part in an AEW Tag Team Championship match with his then partner Frankie Kazarian in a losing effort against then champions the Young Bucks. As per the self-imposed stipulation, Kazarian and Daniels were forced to split as a team next time they picked up a loss, and this forced it. Now working as AEW's head of talent relations, Daniels has a long history with Impact Wrestling, debuting in 2002 for NWA TNA. He then went on to become a 4-time X Division champion and an 8-time tag champion. If he did indeed wrestle, this will be the TNA legend's first match in Impact since 2014 and first match under the Impact Wrestling banner. And finally, last week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring told the story of the infamous plane ride from hell and discussed a number of topics from the flight, including the allegations of sexual assault by Ric Flair on a flight attendant. One of the talking heads on the show was ECW legend Tommy Dreamer, who garnered heat from fans after he appeared to brush this off as a joke and Ric Flair just doing Ric Flair stuff. He mentioned that the flight attendant Heidi Doyle was merely offended by Flair's actions. In light of the backlash he has received from his comments, Dreamer has issued a statement on his Twitter page addressing the situation, stating that he does not condone sexual misconduct of any kind, apologizing in the process, and he said, "Regarding my comments made on Dark Side of the Ring, it was never my intention to offend, hurt, or shame anyone. I understand my comments were insensitive and could trigger emotions in someone's own personal past. I do not condone sexual misconduct of any kind. I apologize to anyone I offended. From the bottom of my heart, I am so sorry." Dreamer has been indefinitely suspended by his current employer Impact Wrestling, with the company stating that his comments were out of line with their core values. Tommy works for Impact in on and off-screen roles, working as both a wrestler and a producer. He returned to Impact in 2018, but it seems likely he will part ways with the company in the near future unless his apology can sway public opinion. And before you go, why not check out my video where I discuss 10 wrestlers that would be perfect members of the Elite.